Well, welcome to the city of Fort Myers and beyond to Closing Arguments with Attorney Joe North. But today, you're not going to hear closing arguments from me because we are in the campaign season, and there's no bigger election than for the city of Fort Myers mayor. And today I have with me the leading candidate, Jacquelyn McMiller. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mr. North. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And you know, just to dive right into it, say this is day one of you sitting in the mayor's seat. What is the most important thing that you want to work on day one as mayor of Fort Myers?
Well, I thought about that, and I would believe one of the major issues that I think that we have long forgotten and not addressed is our relationship with law enforcement. They are there to protect us. And with that being the case, we need to ensure that our community, that the people that pays their salaries can trust them, that there's continued transparency, and just ensure that we have that community policing. We need to get back to the basics, and that's what I would expect to look for. One of my first jobs as mayor of the city of Fort Myers.
Okay. And along those lines, I know that there has been a lot of talk out there, a lot of miscommunication about defunding police departments all across the country. And I know that somewhat of a different issue is just reallocating some of the budget, some of the funds. So if you can speak to how you see with the City of Fort Myers Police Department, either in a reallocation of funds or defunding, or what your position on that is.
Well, I'm strong with law enforcement. We need law enforcement. We need law and order. To think that we can even get to that point would be remiss of me to be able to think in that way. Law enforcement is there to ensure that the laws are followed, that the people are protected, and that the people feel safe. And that seems to be an issue here in the city of Fort Myers. It took a long time for us to get here. I think it was a lot of complacency, just no one really saying anything about the issues and really bringing it up. But it's been like that all over the country. As I was speaking to someone earlier, this should have been addressed all the way back to the situation with Rodney King. And it really hit home because we saw it on television. It was televised. We saw the things that were happening to this man, and there wasn't a question about whether it was over-policing and that it was abuse of powers. But the main thing is I truly believe that going back to this community policing, where the community, the children, can see a police officer and say, I want to be like him, instead of running away or being fearful. Seeing law enforcement as a good thing, not something negative, as it has become. And our officers deserve more. They deserve the respect, and many of our officers that are starting out right now, their hearts are truly in policing, ensuring safety, and when they're coming out fresh out of school and wanting to come out and protect the people, and they get such negative, negative feelings from it, we need to change that because they deserve that respect. They're risking their lives every day, and it's just something that we need to make sure that we go back to. With regards to the defunding, we need to reallocate those funds. We are not in the middle of a war. And one of the things that's happening is that we have a lot of monies that are afforded to law enforcement at this point, where it's military-grade weapons.
And we're not at war.
We're not at war, and we don't need that. What do we need is to let us know that the police are there for us. Law enforcement simply stopping and just saying, how are you? Mm-hmm. Back in the day, and even just not too long ago, my mom walking to the mailbox and law enforcement will stop and say, "Hey, Mom, how you doing? Do you need anything?" Children see this. That's where that trust begins.
It's a ripple effect. That's right.
Absolutely. And it's just as well as we can have the negative and it goes through, we can have that positive and it starts to rebuild those relationships. Law enforcement deserves it. They risk their lives, like I said, every day, and they deserve our respect. But we're going to have to receive it as citizens as well.
Very well said. Thank you. Let me ask you this. What qualities do you have that you believe set you apart from some of the others running in this election that could sway the voters to vote for you?
Well, I've lived in Fort Myers practically all of my life. We even went to high school together.
We did, yes.
Yes, we did. And one of the things I can say is this. Being educated here, we didn't know in Cypress, at Cypress Lake, yay Panthers, we didn't know anything about segregation. We knew about it, but I really didn't experience it. My friends that I grew up with, we had the best of both worlds. But mainly living in both those worlds, experiencing it in both those worlds. I've seen poverty from friends of mine that I went to school with. Growing up, I've seen it firsthand. I've been in the trenches with families that have experienced poverty and not even knew where they were going to get the money to pay their electric bill. And me sitting with them and figuring that out, digging into the resources that we have locally, even going into my own pocket and being able to help them with that, because I know that they're doing the very best they can. But I've also lived on the other side. I've owned my own corporation. I've lived in Gateway. I lived in Gateway for 10 years, and I've seen both sides. So I can understand. I had a neighbor of mine. We had dinner at least once a week in Gateway, and I still go and visit her today. There's two sides of the city, and I feel and I know and I believe that having that experience, I can relate to each side to be able to bring those two sides together. This is the tale of two cities, and we need to bond, we need to get together, and we need to ensure that this city thrives, as I know and I believe that it can.
And along those lines, and as the mayor, you will represent the entire city.
Absolutely.
The rich, the poor, the private citizen, the big business and developers, and everything in between.
Absolutely.
So how do you make sure that you represent everybody?
Well, we need to listen to each other. And one of the things is listening not just to answer a person, because that's not truly communication. You listen to hear their tone, their voice, what truly is speaking to you. Because many times people speak and they really don't even express themselves in the way that they really want to. It's like I come from these interviews sometimes and I'm like, you know what? I should have said this or I should have said that. But truly sit down and listen and have those discussions. I'm very, very open in making sure that the door is always open for the mayor's office, having those discussions with the city council, and listening to their side. And another thing I would actually truly say, I don't want to wait until a third-party person, a council member, brings me information back from their ward. I want to be able to go to that ward. I want to hear it. I want to have that conversation with the people of each one of those wards, and I want to hear their concerns. Also, I want to hear what's going great, but bring me a solution. Let us get together, talk about it, and think about some solutions. We don't have to recreate the wheel. Great.
Now, throughout America, the voters are electing public officials who are non-politicians, and they're doing that left and right. So with you being a quote-unquote non-politician because you've never held an elective office, what sets you apart? What makes these voters be attracted to you as a non-politician?
Because I'm one of them. I'm not up here and really have my heads in the clouds and not really sitting here and looking at everyone, with these blinders on. I am one of them. I understand where they're coming from. I still relate to them, and I haven't forgotten where I came from. I'm a child of Fort Myers, Florida. I'm a product of Fort Myers, Florida. And I don't think that's too bad. I think Fort Myers is pretty good,
I love
and
the city.
I love this city, absolutely.
Tell us why you love Fort Myers.
Oh, man.
Because I love it too. Tell us why you love
Yes.
Fort Myers.
I have such wonderful memories here, but I've seen how far we've come and the blessings that we've been blessed with. We have families, we have culture, we have strong cultures here. And being able to experience that at Cypress Lake, in college, with my grandkids, with my children, and seeing those differences. We've been able to walk and ride our bicycles all around this area and really be able to feel a sense of, I'm here. This is where I belong. It's not like I want to go anywhere else. I want to make this better. And that's the commitment that I want to instill in every one of us here in the city.
Okay. And growing up, whether it be in your younger years or when we were in high school at Cypress Lake High School, or even as an adult, who are your heroes, or do you have a hero?
I have several. I do.
Can you share them with us? Me?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But thank you for that.
And I think, the main thing that sets my mind to moving is thinking about my mom and my dad.
That's right.
Both of them started, my dad had a 3rd grade education, my mom had 9th grade, but they can math me on any day, and twice on Sunday.
That's right.
And my dad built his company, his contracting company, and I saw him working so hard, and he always told us, you have to work hard if you're ever going to attain anything. Nothing worth having comes easy. And never, ever, ever be afraid of failure. Failure is just a way for you to get up, and it makes you tougher, and it makes you stronger. And you always learn something from that failure. It just gives you another reason to get up and keep going. And that I've always believed in. I've always worked hard. I started out babysitting, and he wouldn't even allow us to go to work during high school because of the fact that he wanted us to focus on school. My parents were great. They were great people that I look up to this day. And I'm blessed to still have them. I'm blessed to still have them here.
That is great. And I know that, like your parents, you've always worked hard. I know that it's in your family. You've got a nephew, Sammy Watkins, who's worked hard since he was a child, and he's now earned being a Super Bowl champion. So, what is it about your family, that work ethic, that is a common thread to success?
Not giving up.
Never giving up.
You can't. It's not, my kids, I tell them, giving up is not an option. Saying I can is not a part of our vocabulary. And Sammy even injured himself seriously when he was in high school, and he thought about giving up at that time. And because of what was instilled in us,
That's right.
when my brother kept working with him and telling him, you can do this, it's going to make you stronger. A lot of people don't realize that when you have a broken bone, that bone heals. It's twice as strong as it was before. And that is what life is all about. You become stronger, even though you may fall, you get up, you brush yourself off, and you keep moving. But you always take something positive from whatever negative you may come across, because you will be able to utilize it in your future. And just keeping going, staying focused, praying a lot, definitely giving it over to God. Have to understand, if you cannot handle it and you've done all you can, you have to give it over to Him.
Amen to that.
And keep it moving.
That's right.
And I've respected so many people that I've seen those attributes in, because we are going to face a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations. But I welcome it with open arms, because I know I'm going to keep going and I'm going to move forward.
And you seem to be willing to share a lot of your personal experiences, and we appreciate that. The voters and the citizens, we appreciate that. So let me ask you this too. Can you share with us a a time that you've had to work with others to achieve a common goal, what that was, and how you think that that will help you in your position as mayor of Fort Myers?
I have the pleasure, and I have had the pleasure, of working with many people from a grassroots level, where I'm going into their homes, I'm speaking with them, and I'm talking to them, and at times where many times it's their worst, at the worst times of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to speak to that person, especially with DCF, I worked at DCF for years, and everyone is almost terrified of DCF. It has such negative connotations. And to be able to go into that home and speak to that family, and for them to turn around and tell me, you know what, thank you. Thank you so much. Because they were cursing and fighting at me and everything when I first met them. And I understood that. But really understanding why they're upset, what their fears are, because many people act out when they're fearful, not necessarily angry, you know, and understanding where they're coming from and being able to listen. And that's what I'm bringing to the table. We have 6 wards in the city. Everyone has different needs. And I'm here to listen to each one of those needs and be able to understand that. And thank goodness I've been able to experience it from both sides. But being able to get people together, have those conversations, and meet their needs in a way that they feel comfortable with, or at least say, this is the best thing. What can we do to help you help yourself? And that's what I see myself doing in this city.
I see that too. Well, I know that this is closing arguments with Attorney Joe North, but I think today the people want to hear from you. So if you could just look into this camera here and with your own closing arguments, tell the people of Fort Myers why they should vote you as the next mayor of Fort Myers.
Oh, Fort Myers. We are strong, strong people. We have been through very much some hard things, and we're going to go through things again. However, we are resilient, we are strong, and we believe in each other, because I believe in you. What we need to do, and what I want to see us do, is come together as a team, as a city, and as a people. Not separate people, but as a people as a whole, and say, what are we going to do to take on this structure of a city and make it thrive, and make it a city where all other cities would be actually jealous of. That's what I want to see, and that's what I'm going to bring to you as your mayor of the city of Fort Myers. I want you to know I love this city. I have no plans of going anywhere else. I want to build. I have children, grandchildren, and I want them to thrive as I want your children, your families from generations on to thrive, because I know we can do that.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask 3 things of the public. 1, vote. Please get out there and vote. 2, vote McMiller for mayor. And then 3, tell your friends, family, and neighbors, vote McMiller for mayor. That's all for tonight, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.
Hello, Southwest Florida. Thanks for watching Lee Pitts Live. Of course, I'm Lee Pitts. I hope you enjoy that particular show, but you can always catch us here on YouTube. Just click on the subscribe button down there. That way you can get your Lee Pitts Live on demand when you want it and how you want it. We also encourage you to watch our show on Fox 4 and connect with us on all our social media platforms. Just type in Lee Pitts Live.